Hey everyone. So you just heard a part of the music from the Prometheus trailer. And the reason why you heard that is because today I am reviewing the Prometheus movie. Prometheus, guys, is the prequel to the famous Ridley Scott sci fi film Alien. It finally came out. It's been in talks for years and years of Ridley Scott finally returning to the series to make a prequel. And now the time has come and it's now in theaters. So Prometheus, guys, it is a story about um, a group of space explorers who are trying to figure out the origins of mankind. Why are we here? Why are we the way we are? How did other creatures spawn? How come we think we're the dominant species ever? Um, so the whole film asks a bunch of questions about the origins of mankind, and it also, well, I guess, and so I'll talk about this more in the review here. It tries to answer some questions on why things are the way we are in the universe. Um, and it also is tied into the events of Alien and kind of how things got started with that. Um, and also throughout the film, they discover kind of this black liquid material, and without me ruining too much of the film, it does kind of answer the questions on how the whole alien species like the xenomorph and the scorpions that came out of the eggs, how did they all start out? Um, we also introduced to some new extraterrestrial creatures in this film, so that was very interesting. And it also looks the same as Alien. You can definitely tell, as much as Ridley Scott has claimed that it's its own original story. In some ways, it kind of isn't. I mean, it's definitely along the line of a prequel. It looks the same. It has the same look and feel to it. Um, so to kind of sum it all up without, because it's a very hard film to review without spoiling something. So I apologize if this review is very brief. I'm trying to. It's one of those movies where you actually kind of just have to go see it in order to know what it is and how good or bad it is. Um, so they pretty much find out about this black liquid material on this new planet that they found, and they discover what are the goods and the bads of that black liquid that comes out of this capsule-like material. And so they're looking through this cave, and there's this storm that happens, and so they run into complications along the way as they're trying to figure out the origins of mankind on this planet that they figured out has all these answers on it. Um, and we also get to learn why the events of Alien happened the way it did, why that ship was there, why it was a ruin and not a still up and going civilization, how that egg got there, how the xenomorph started. All that stuff gets answered. Um, so if you're a fan of the Alien series, this is definitely the film to go see. It definitely answers a lot of questions for you. But now on to the positives and negatives of this film. First and foremost, this film is very good with masterful visuals. It has great. It just absolutely looked excellent. As soon as it hits the Blu-ray shelves when it's released on Blu-ray and DVD, this film is going to look absolutely amazing on those formats. I mean, it's definitely one of Ridley Scott's more visual films to date for sure. Just visually, I don't have any complaints about this film. Visually, it looked exactly the way I wanted an Alien prequel to look like. This film was a great retelling of Alien. Some critics are even saying it feels like a remake of Alien because it feels so similar to that story structure and feeling, and kind of the same type of characters, same kind of events happen throughout the film too. So it just does a really good job of retelling Alien. So if you're completely new to Alien, I actually probably wouldn't recommend saying that this is the film to start at simply because it is a prequel. So I would make sure you see at least the first two. Don't even see three and four; those were pretty much a waste of time. But definitely see the first two Alien films just to kind of see, that is kind of similar to that and everything else. Um, but overall, it feels like a new story, and at the same time, it feels like a great retelling. So, in a sense, it's both a great rehash and it's a great retelling of a story that we're all familiar with in the sci fi genre. This film sets up for Alien perfectly. It's a really, a lot of critics are also saying it's a great film to think about when it's over with. Um, I definitely agree with that. It definitely asks you a lot of questions on, and it makes you think about the first two Alien films to be like, you know what, that does set up for that very well, and I can see why, in the first Alien film it happened the way it did. or I can see why in the second Alien film that happened the way it did. So as far as setting things up, it sets up very well for both of those films. Idris Elba is one of the new characters introduced in this film. He plays one of the captains on the Prometheus ship, and he did an excellent performance in this. He definitely added some humor into the story. There's a fun scene in this film where he has a lot of fun with Charlize Theron's character in this. He was just a great addition to this. Everything I wanted his character to do, he did in this film. So Ridley Scott did an excellent job directing him to what exactly his character was supposed to do in this story. The new extraterrestrials in this film look great, you guys. They're definitely different enough from the aliens that you're used to. Um, a friend of mine I went to see this movie with even pointed out, they have very similar characteristics from the xenomorph and all those other aliens from the previous film, but at the same time, they're new enough. So if you're new to the series or if you want to see some new extraterrestrials, this film definitely does serve on that level. Some very interesting extraterrestrials in this film. They definitely did a good job with introducing us to some new creatures that we haven't even seen before in the Alien franchise. Entertaining from start to finish. This film, you'll be intrigued from the minute it starts to the minute it ends. We even stayed after the credits just to make sure they didn't pull an Avengers thing where they had a clip at the end. Unfortunately, they do not with this film. They do show something before it says, like the directed by Ridley Scott and everything. So make sure you stay for that scene. It's very important for setting up the Alien franchise. But this film is very entertaining. It's definitely a one where you won't be bored while watching this. I also like how this film kind of explores, life is a mystery. There's some things we're going to know and there's some certain things we're not going to know. So this film definitely plays off that theme very well. But also on the negative side, now I'm onto the negative portion of this film. It really doesn't answer a lot of answers about life. I went into this film kind of saying, Prometheus might explore this and they might explore this. But I didn't get enough answers about the meaning of life in this film. Almost every answer that they provided in this movie, I already knew. Um, Also, another thing about this film, and this is more, I don't know if they use this actor more so for the promotional stuff, but I did not see Guy Pearce at all in this movie. And Guy Pearce, if you don't know who he is, he was in Memento and he was in The King's Speech and a bunch of other famous stuff. He's going to be in the next, he's going to be in Iron Man 3 as one of the villains. I did not see him at all in this movie. He was even credited at the beginning. I know I saw a promotional video of him where he's the Wayland Company guy promoting the Prometheus ship or something like that. But I did not actually see him in the physical film, so it was very disappointing to see him credited, but yet I don't see a single scene in this film that actually had him in the movie. So if he was in the film, it must have been so brief that I didn't even notice him because that was just how brief his role was in the movie. So if you're going to have Guy Pearce in your movie, get him something to do. He's a famous enough actor that he can definitely pull off that huge famous role. There's a scene in this film, without me ruining anything, where a character does have surgical operations and she's able to be up and moving just as fine as she was before the surgery. So I really did not like that in this film. It really felt hokey and corny. It felt like they had to make her move that well just to make the storyline work still after that scene. So Ridley Scott, he really should have done that either near the end of the film or something. Keep the scene in there. It's a very important homage to Alien, but do it in a way that's more believable because the way they presented it was not believable at all for me. Um, like I said earlier, I really didn't learn anything new about the universe or about life in this film. Almost everything presented here has either been told in a history book somewhere, or if you find the right archaeologist in the Indiana Jones film or in real life, you'll probably learn more than them from this movie. Um, and kind of like the whole surgery thing I talked about without ruining the film. There was just a lot of hokey scenarios and situations in this film that really could have been improved upon. And even though I understand this is a sci-fi and the word fiction is pretty dominant in the word science fiction, still make it so I don't say to myself, "Oh, that's hokey," or "Oh, that's corny," or "Oh, that's fake." Make it so I say to myself, "Wow, this actually is something really going on right now on the screen." But overall, guys, I give Prometheus an 8.5 out of 10. It's an excellent prequel to the series. Not as good as Aliens by James Cameron, or even in some cases, not as good as the original Alien by Ridley Scott. A lot better than 3 and 4. Don't even watch Alien 3 and 4. Those are dead movies now. So replace those films on your collection with this one. Much more notable Alien film. Definitely a notable prequel, one of the more notable prequels out there. So 8.5 out of 10 for me. It has a lot of good things in it, but also at the same time, it also could have used some improvements. So 8.5 out of 10 for me, guys.